BMW GS Trophy, a motorcycle riding competition unlike any other, with riders full of passionate hearts coming from all over the world. Participating countries select 5 riders, 3 men and 2 women, after a series of qualifiers. These riders then participate in incredible and exotic destinations and battle it out to try and achieve ultimate victory. South Africa, having won the last 3 international GS trophies, New Zealand 2020, Mongolia 2018 and Thailand 2016, as well as placing second at Canada 2014 and here at home in 2010, it becomes quite clear that South Africa has one of the most passionate riding cultures in the world, a culture that loves adrenaline and the sweet scent of victory. These persistent riders, combined with machines that are built to perform under extreme conditions, are what form the backbone of our riding culture. The next BMW Motorrad GS Trophy will be in 2022, hosted in Albania. Thus, the South African regional and national qualifiers are well underway, and this is my journey to the regional qualifier, my road to regionals. My first drop. This was the first of what I knew was gonna be many, but it was a journey that I was longing for, a journey that I had been waiting for, and a journey that I was going to see through to the end. Race day. It was finally time to use all that I had learned. I was very fortunate to be able to stay at Oom Cornel's house in Klerksdorp, where we had a very delicious breakfast known as Oom Cornel's famous cowboy food. We fixed up the bikes, made sure tire pressures were correct, and set out to Star Raceway, where we would be competing at the Northwest Regional Qualifier. This was what I had been waiting for, and I was looking forward to it. The bikes were lined up, and it was time. Exercise 1. Our first challenge for the day consisted of multiple bits joined together. First off, we would have to run with our boots and trousers. Then do the kit up, put on jackets, helmets and gloves. After that, we would have to do something called walking the bike, which is walking around your motorcycle twice by only holding onto it with one hand. After that, you proceeded to ride through and back the logs. I unfortunately had a problem with my GoPro's battery, so I couldn't record the first two exercises from my point of view. Exercise 2 was plain and simple. All you had to do was hit a cone with your back tire. Unfortunately, I nearly missed it and lost my first couple of points. Some of the guys did very excellent though. Exercise 3 would be testing our balance in turns. It's quite the precarious situation when you're trying to counterbalance these big, massive bikes. But fortunately, with enough skill and practice, anything becomes easy. But it's always possible to mess up in the moment. So I was going to have to focus on not making any stupid mistakes. During one of the final turns, I noticed pre-hand that there was a big slit in the ground. Even after knowing this, I still fumbled into it and dropped my bike for the first time in the competition. This was an unfortunate mishap, but I was going to have to pick up quickly and make sure not to lose my cool. Exercise 4. This is one that I was not going to be very fond of. It consisted of riding around a pole 4 times while holding onto a rope. The point of it was to hook the rope at the end. The secret twist to doing this is looking at the pole, and this was something that I had not been practicing. Oom Cornel, where I had been staying, did exceptionally well in this exercise. I was not very good at this, and unfortunately I dropped my bike a second time, and I realized that I was going to have to make some serious improvements from here on out. Finally, we arrived at something that I would be enjoying. Exercise 5 consisted of riding through a rocky pool, doing an elephant turn, and then riding back into the rocky pool, turning to the right, and then exiting. This was luckily one of my strengths, as I love riding technical and off-road stuff. Exercise 6. This was called the uphill recovery. You would have to pull away, ride up an uphill, and then let go of your clutch in first gear to make sure your bike stalls. Then you would have to, while only using your left leg, turn your bike around and proceed to come back. The trick to this, at the end, was that we had to take out our side stands to see how accurately we could place them. Marco was the smart guy to figure the trick behind this, kicking out his kickstand early, the bike cutting itself off, and then just running in neutral all the way to the exact location where your side stand had to go. Exercise 7. The state-of-the-art sand pit. This was another exercise that I actually quite enjoy, especially being on the 800, which makes it lighter, and also with a bigger front tire makes losing the front a lot less likely. Exercise 8, another favorite. So this was a course of strategically placed cones. We would have to enter around a cone while doing a brake slide and then leave it while doing a power slide. I quickly realized that this was going to be something where instinct had to take over. So I decided that I would rather dab once in my first turn and make sure that I get the feeling for it right off the bat and not lose a lot of unnecessary points all over the place. This was a very fun challenge, and it's definitely something I can work on more. Exercise 9. Nothing too ridiculous, just a really steep downwards hill where we would have to try and stop before the white line and make sure we get to the box as quickly as possible. Exercise 10. This is what I had been hoping for the entire day. There is a massive dirt track at Star Raceway, and this looked like so much fun. Much to my surprise, on our first lap where we would only be checking out what it looked like, I discovered that it was not very GS friendly. This was meant for dirt bikes, and I realized that being greedy on this track would only cause trouble, and I still had 2 or 3 pretty close calls, but it was very fun riding this track. I'd love to go back one day on a dirt bike. Exercise 11, your state-of-the-art slow race. Something any motorcycle enthusiast loves. Because I mean, if it's built to go fast, why not go slow? And finally, after an entire day of riding, we got to our final exercise. Exercise 12 was the infamous figure 8. This was the one thing I was sure everybody had been practicing a lot. And after a lot of very good riders had finished riding their figure 8s, it was my turn. Unfortunately, in my final circle, I hit a rock that was lying in the block, but we had a great laugh about it afterwards, and unfortunately I gave out one dab.
Ai, ala. Ek kyk eers vir die klip. Ek moet nie gaan nie. Oh, maar dit was lekker.
And after a long day of riding, it finally came down to see who placed where. And as you can see, the stress levels were a bit high. And much to my surprise, I somehow got first place. But yeah, this was an awesome experience, and thank you so much everybody. Country Tracks, BMW Klerksdorp, you guys did an amazing job. And thanks Star Raceway for that awesome venue and the delicious food. Thank you so much everybody, I enjoyed this so much.